Namaskar, welcome you all to the session part 2 of session 12 on India's policy framework on disaster management. In the last session, we have learned the basics of India's policy on disaster management and the governance structure of the country, as well as the roles and responsibilities. The key area of discussion today will be focusing on SDMP, DDMP, Urban Resilience and Disaster Management Amendment Act 2024. We will emphasize the goal of understanding how these elements contribute to building a resilient India. Now, let us try to understand once again what is under the Indian policy framework that is so important today. Prioritizing saving life and ensuring safety. Disaster management is fundamentally about protecting life by reducing the risk associated with the natural and man-made disasters. Next is reducing economic losses. Disasters often lead to severe financial losses impacting individuals, businesses and national economy. Disaster management mitigates these losses by fostering preparedness and implementing risk reduction measures. Next, preparing and protecting critical infrastructure like hospitals, schools, transportation systems are essential during and after a disaster. Safeguarding these infrastructures ensures the continuation of services and aid recovery efforts post disaster. Let us try to understand what are the key components of India's framework. India framework is three-tiered framework. Number one is the national level, state level and district level. India disaster management framework is organized under the three framework, and the first one is the national level, that is the NDMP, National Disaster Management Plan. The role of NDMP is to provide a unified vision for disaster risk reduction across the country. NDMP outlines goals, policies, strategies for disaster management that states can adapt and implement. Second level is the SDMP, adaptation to the state specific needs. SDMP tailors the NDMP's national guidelines to address the specific risks and challenges within each state. It considers local vulnerabilities, resources and capacities. And the third level is the district level, that is called DDMP, District Disaster Management Plans. The District Disaster Management Plan translates the state strategies into actionable plans at the district level. It identifies district specific hazards and focuses on operational readiness for that. Now, let us try to understand what is the SDMP, DDMP and how it is a localized approach. Crafting SDMP and DDMPs, state disaster management authorities and create the SDMPs based on hazard assessments, risk analysis and state priorities. These plans integrate inputs from multiple sectors to address diverse challenges. DDMPs implementation at the district level. DDMPs operationalize state plans by focusing on localized hazards such as floods, drought and earthquakes. They detail the roles and responsibility of the district level officials and the various other stakeholders, ensuring tailored disaster plans for the communities. A localized approach ensures that every community, rural or urban, has a customized plan that addresses its unique vulnerabilities and the needs. Now, objectives of the SDMP. Number one is identifying and reducing vulnerabilities. SDMP focuses on identifying high risk areas and implementing measures to reduce these vulnerabilities. This includes creating safer infrastructure and improving risk awareness. Next is promoting resilience through capacity building. The plan emphasizes equipping communities and institutions with the knowledge, skills and resources needed to withstand disasters. Training programs and mock drills are the key components for this. Number 3 is enabling swift emergency response. SDMP lays down clear response protocols, ensuring rapid and effective action during emergencies. Amid coordination between various agencies is prioritized for a seamless response during emergency. Next one is sustainable recovery through build back better. Recovery efforts under the SDMP focus on the long term solutions that reduce future risk. The build back better principle ensures that reconstructed infrastructure is more resilient. Now, let us see how integration of SDMP with the national goals. Tailoring NDMP goals to local challenges. The national disaster management plans goals are adapted at the state level and the district level to reflect local context and priorities. This ensures relevance and effectiveness in diverse regions, ensuring consistency across governance levels. The integration between the national, state and district level promotes a unified approach to disaster management. Next is leveraging national resources. Resources like NDRF, National Disaster Response Force, provides critical on-ground support during emergency. Institutions such as National Institute of Disaster Management (NIDM) offer technical guidelines and training for the capacity building to enhance preparedness and response measures. Now, risk assessment and mitigation at the state level and district level. Hazard mapping to identify disaster prone areas. Hazard mapping identifies regions most vulnerable to the disasters, enabling targeted preparedness measures. Second is structural strategies for disaster defenses, building embankments to prevent floods and designing earthquake resistant buildings during physical risk. And the third is non-structural strategies for preparedness, like public awareness campaigns that educate communities about disaster risk and safety measures. Policy improvements such as enforcing building codes enhance long-term resilience in the system. And the third is ecosystem-based mitigation for natural defenses. This restores mangroves and wetlands that act as a buffer against the floods and storm surges. These efforts combine environmental conservation with disaster risk reduction. Next point is coordination and capacity building. Interdepartmental coordination. Disaster management requires coordination among departments like health, agriculture, urban development for a unified response. Each department's expertise ensures a holistic and efficient approach to preparedness and relief. Role of local governments, municipal bodies and panchayats implement disaster plans on the ground as first responders. Next is skill enhancement through training. Training programs equip responders, leaders and officials with first aid, rescue and crisis communication skills. Mock drills improves readiness and identify gaps in response strategies. Then is community based disaster risk management, CBDRM. CBDRM empowers communities to take ownership of disaster preparedness, local response teams and evacuation training that enhance grassroots resilience and that overall ensures resilience in the system. Next point for discussion is the funding and resources at the state level and the district level. State Disaster Response Fund (SDRF) ensures states have immediate financial resources for disaster relief without relying on national resources. Public-private partnership (PPPs). PPP brings funding, innovation and technology for projects like resilient infrastructure and early warning system. Next, insurance for vulnerable sectors. Insurance schemes protect farmers, small businesses and home growners from financial losses. Next one is international collaboration. Partnership with organizations like United Nations and World Bank provide funding and expertise at the state level and the district levels. Now, tailoring early warning system at the state level and local level. Under this, number 1, timely alerts that saves the lives. Early warning provide critical time for evacuation and preparation and that reduces casualties and damage. Number 2, reliable communication networks. It ensures systems reach remote and vulnerable populations. And the third is multi-channel dissemination, broadcast alerts via apps, SMS, radio, TV and public announcement systems. Now, let us see the role of IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. Accurate forecasting. IMD provides precise weather forecast critical for disaster management, hazard prediction and that enables proactive preparedness. Second is cyclone warning division. Tracks cyclone in the real time, issuing timely coastal warning. And third is the flood forecasting that is being done by Central Water Commission (CWC) that collaborates with the Central Water Commission for accurate flood predictions. It ensures timely alerts on river water levels and inundation risks. Extreme weather alerts that issues heat waves, cold wave warning, lightning warning to help communities prepare for temperature extremes and lightning etc. Then there is the word Common Alert Protocol. Under Common Alert Protocol (CAP), it standardizes messages with clear instructions on evacuation and safety. multi-channel dissemination of common alert protocols, distributes alerts via apps, SMS, radio, TV for broad reach, color coded warnings, uses colors yellow, orange and red to indicate hazard severely. Now, let us try to understand what are the lessons that have been learned from post disasters and that have been included in Indian policy. Number one is the Gujarat earthquake of 2001 that happened in Bhuj, and it highlighted the need for a robust building codes, led to stricter regulations to improve structural resilience. Indian Ocean Tsunami 2004, it emphasized regional warning system, prioritized coastal resilience through sea walls and other initiatives. Third is Uttarakhand floods of 2013. This flood exposed issues from deforestation and poor land management. It triggered conservation efforts and a regulated development in the hill region. Again, the lessons from Kerala flood 2018. It demonstrated the need for a better dam and urban planning coordination. Integrated water management practices were introduced in the country then after. Now, moving to Disaster Management Amendment Act 2024. DM Act 2004-24 in form of amendment passed by the Indian Parliament. It is a proactive disaster management. It focuses on preparedness and mitigation over reactive measures, emphasizes early risk identification and community involvement. Next focus is climate risk resilience. It aligns disaster policies with global agreements like the Paris Agreement, addresses climate induced risk including rising sea levels and extreme weather. And third is the use of advanced technology for prediction and response, promotes AI, GIS and satellite imagery for accurate hazard prediction and efficient response. And next is accountability mechanism. It ensures transparency and a regular audits and monitoring that enhances the efficiency in disaster management operations. Now, let us see some features of the Amendment Act 2024. It adapted to climate changes to develop a strategy for rising temperatures, erratic rainfall and sea level rise. India to invest in renewable energy, sustainable land use and carbon neutral practices. Amendment Act now target urban resilience to identify risks like flooding and heat islands with city risk maps, incorporates resilience into urban renewable planning with disaster shelters and underground utilities. Next is innovations in technology. Under the Amendment Act to use artificial intelligence for disaster pattern predictions and resource allocation. It can apply GIS for resource mapping the hazards, assessing vulnerability and evacuation planning. It can imply drones and IoT for real time monitoring and post disaster analysis. Now, the community engagement, grassroots campaigns and school preparedness programs fosters preparedness. It encourages volunteer groups and public participation for shared disaster management responsibility. Now, the Amendment Act is focusing on holistic capacity building planning. Training programs, regular training equips responders, officials, volunteers with disaster response skills. These stimulate scenarios to identify gaps in preparedness, specialized training in medical emergencies, search and rescue and crisis communication enhances readiness. Then education initiatives, disaster education in school curricula fosters early preparedness, community workshops and media campaigns raise awareness of the local hazards and safety measures. Collaboration with the NGOs and international bodies. NGOs provide resources and expertise in unserved areas. Partnership with global organizations practices, joint initiatives ensure inclusivity and sustainability in capacity building. The Amendment Act has made Indian policy aligned with sustainable development goal. Under this, They are focused on reducing the poverty and inequalities. Disaster management addresses vulnerabilities affecting marginalized communities. Strategies protect livelihoods and assets, preventing poverty and setbacks. Inclusive policies ensures equitable recovery measures, promoting sustainable development and urbanization. Resilient infrastructure supports sustainable urban growth. Integrated urban planning reduces long term disaster risk. Eco-friendly practices like green roof, rainwater harvesting enhance resilience. Now, next is achieving a safer, equitable society. Disaster management safeguards development gains and reduces inequalities. Inclusivity ensures no one is left behind in recovery efforts. Building resilience improves societal well-being and economic sustainability. Now, we are moving towards closing of the session, and before closing of the session, let us talk some of the points what we have already discussed. To sum it up, we have discussed about collaborative approach. Under collaborative approach, disaster resilience that requires collaboration among government, private sector and communities. Multi-sector efforts make preparedness, response and poverty comprehensive. Second is proactive, inclusive and technology driven measures. It emphasizes preparedness and risk reduction over societal and reactive measures. It includes all societal sections, particularly vulnerable groups in planning. It leverages technology for efficient and scalable disaster management. And next is encouraging active participation. Individuals, communities and institutions must actively contribute to disaster resilience. Collective responsibility ensures lives, livelihood and infrastructure that can be protected. I conclude with the gratitude to you that you have been with me during all such discussions. With this, I like to close my discussion right now. Thank you for joining the session. Wish you all the best. Meet you in the next. Namaskar.